and she's coming off of a clean sheet against Siena.
Made 3 saves as Syracuse defeated Siena on Thursday, and we are underway from SU Soccer Stadium. 81 degrees and sunny. We were certainly feeling it, but luckily we're inside now.
Yeah, and expect the weather to be a factor. Players are going to get tired faster. Expect these teams to reach into their benches a little bit more than normal because you want to keep players healthy and make sure that they're getting proper hydration.
And both these teams do not lack depth, especially a Syracuse squad, Arnav, that has 10 more players on the roster this year than it had last year.
Yeah, and right away you see it. The transfer, Julia Koval, getting into the starting lineup for Rauch, who took a slight knock in that Siena game. And like you said, Ian, it's just important to have that depth off of the bench that you can bring on and make sure that the level doesn't drop.
Rauch, the captain for Syracuse, had the longest start streak on the Orange. Koval filling her place. Lisa Auden, another captain, runs for it in the corner of the field, pursued by Isabella Fiorillo, one of the 2 freshmen starting for head coach Rich Wall and the Lakers so far this season. Some physicality already, not even a minute in.
Yeah, just a good rush for the ball, 50-50, and then Lisa Auden gets the worst of it as the ball goes out of play, but she's able to win the throw-in for Syracuse.
The Orange 2-0-1 to start their season. Their best start since 2017 in their 4th consecutive game here from Syracuse to start the campaign. Fleury igniting traffic on the near side as a shot sent in by Oching and blocked away. Mercyhurst, meanwhile, 0-2-0. They've had a week off since a 2-0 loss at Niagara. This is their first season, Arnav, in Division I, something they didn't really expect. Only 4 months before the season did they know that their program was going to go to the next level out of Division II.
Yeah, and speaking to head coach Rich Wall of the Lakers, it's a big step up, not just in speed of play, but in physicality, and even in the preseason. These players had to report 2 weeks earlier than they did last year, so a big change coming into the season as well.
First corner for either team. That is the the grad student, Kate Murphy. It sails past the far post and just stays along the end line before a whistle blows. And possession awarded to Mercyhurst. Rich Wall in his 2nd season leading the Lakers, a team that, when it was at the Division II level, was among the best, made the NCAA tournament both last year and in 2021.
Yeah, talk about a legacy of excellence, and I think that's what head coach Rich Wall wants to instill in these players. It's about finding that championship mentality again. Even though you've moved up to the Division I level, this team knows how to win at the Division II level. They know how to have a winning mindset, just have to redevelop it this year.
4 straight double-digit win seasons for the Lakers. Wall a part of last year's 16-win campaign. Well, that was in the PSAC, better known as the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference at the Division II level.
And in the early goings here, it has been pretty organized from Mercyhurst. This is the strongest opponent they've played in their opening 3 games, Duquesne and Niagara, and now Syracuse. But right now, the defense not taking any chances, playing confidently out of the back. It's really good to see for Mercyhurst settling in early and not letting the moment get to them.
Because when we talked to Rich Wall earlier this week, a term that he used is his team right now flying around blind a little bit. 6-2 loss at Duquesne to open their season, and then blanked by Niagara 2-0 a week ago today. First Power 4 opponent for the Lakers, although this is a team that, as Wall told us, in the spring seasons, they have prepared for a potential jump to Division I, playing double-digit D1 teams in their last 2 springs since he's been in charge. Fleury with a good ball to the middle, and that shot threads the left post and in. Syracuse gets on the board, 1-0.
And once again, it starts with Erin Fleury passing it inside, and then the shot that finds its way to the bottom left corner from well outside the box. It's a great strike from Stevens to find the bottom left corner. Costantini gets a touch on it, but it's way too powerful for her, and it finds the back of the net.
Delaney Stevens, the transfer by way of UNC Greensboro, her first goal with the Orange and her 4th career goal. Erin Fleury, she did it as a goal scorer, Arnav, against Siena in the second half Thursday, proving that she's more than just that there.
Syracuse University goal.
And a big moment for her as well, just to get that first goal in the Orange, and an early goal for Syracuse. Saw it in the season opener against UMass. Syracuse got that early goal by way of Ava Uribe, and then continued to put pressure on the Minute Women. We'll see if Syracuse can replicate that here.
McDermott passes off to who else but the captain, Fleury, who sends one just high of the bar. She really got adjusted to the speed of play, Arnav, in the second half against Siena. She ended up in that game with 5 shots, which was more than she had in the previous 2 games combined, just being a little more aggressive.
Yeah, and it's all about taking advantage of the half yard of space that she's given. It's not the clear-cut scoring opportunity that she gets there, and it's the same against Siena. It's never a full scoring opportunity, but to take advantage and be aggressive and test the goalkeeper early is really important for Erin Fleury in this one.
Mercyhurst with a free kick from the near side for Isabella Fiorillo, the freshman by way of Rochester, who sends it up the pitch. And now a Syracuse throw-in from a freshman of her own, Iba Oching. Every time she touches the ball, she just looks well beyond her years.
Yeah, and it's an 18-year-old player that plays like she's 25, in the words of head coach Adams for Syracuse. So much experience for her, even at the national level. She was with the Canadian U17 national team at the 2022 U17 World Cup. So she's done it for her country. That World Cup was hosted in India, so that's a bit of ways from Canada for her, getting to travel to the Asian continent and play for her country. You can see that experience on the field as well.
In a group that has come together rather quickly for Nikki Adams and crew. 16 new players, in Oching, one of the 7 freshmen on this year's squad.
Yeah, and Oching, alongside one of her defensive partners in Anna Croyle, have been 2 freshmen that have really locked things down in the back end, especially against those first 2 strong opponents in UMass and Maine. Oching and Croyle did a lot of good defensive work, and then you saw against Maine, Oching scored her first collegiate goal by getting forward and taking advantage of her opportunities in the opposing box.
A 1-1 draw against Maine. That was a week ago today, and Oching, her second half strike, made sure that the Orange got a result in that one. Great pass towards the far flank as McDermott gives it a ride. Cleared out towards the far sideline. Syracuse retains. Already on the board after a Delaney Stevens goal off an Erin Fleury assist in the 6th minute. That was also the Stevens goal, that is. The earliest goal scored in any match for Syracuse so far this season. And really good to see after a shaky first half against Siena on Thursday.
Yeah, that game against Siena went into halftime 0-0, and we know Coach Adams can make adjustments. We saw Erin Fleury step forward a little bit more and get more into the attacking role for the Syracuse side. So good to see the changes being put into effect and carrying over the momentum from that second half game against Siena to the first half in this game against Mercyhurst.
Syracuse, if they can pull out a win today, would already have more wins this year than they had all of last season. These are some of the games with the Orange, especially going into the gauntlet for Nikki Adams' crew. That is ACC play next month. They need to capitalize on. There is the 6th-year head woman of the Orange, Nikki Adams. Came to Syracuse in February of 2019 after a fantastic run at Rice University out in Texas, where she got her team to the NCAA tournament multiple times.
And just constantly been gushing about how talented this team is, especially compared to last year, and how healthy this team is compared to last year's as well.
Although the injuries are starting to pile up, Ashley Rauch, albeit, you know, just described as being roughed up in that game against Siena, unavailable today. And then Shea Vanderbosch, the netminder. This is her 2nd consecutive game missed. Lots of room up the pitch for the Orange, and the run out is won by the captain, Alyssa Pileski, who had played all but 4 minutes for the Lakers, headed into today's match.
It's really important for her to get this game started off on the right foot. And tell the defense to forget about that first goal and just continue on with the Mercyhurst game plan. Mercyhurst loves to possess. When they have possession of the ball, they work it around the back and look for open players. It's not rocket science for the Lakers, but when they get the ball moving and clicking, you saw it with 2 goals against Duquesne, they can get the ball in the back of the net and in dangerous areas.
We talked to Coach Rich Wall earlier this week. He said the strength of this team, in his mind, is goal scoring. Although they've only scored 2 goals through 2 games, they have a couple of key pieces working back from early season injuries. That, like captains Emily Maharez and Tegan Mihalko, who when they're 100% can provide a scoring punch on the attack for Mercyhurst.
And they have relied on the freshmen through the first 2 games. Their 2 goal scorers are both freshmen in Rosie Bandura and Annalise Black. So as they get more into the physicality and the speed of college soccer, expect them to also be factors for this Lakers side.
Rosie Bandura, there is one of those freshmen, 25 in white and green. She can't retain the ball in the midfield for the Lakers, though. Working it back into their own defensive zone, Anna Croyle, the freshman center back, by way of Philadelphia. Auden mishandles it. Stevens, who scored the first goal of the game for Syracuse, works it ahead to Fleury. A good touch, and she works it up to Oching. Battling with Bozjak. And a throw in for the Orange.
And that's a look at that mentality for Iba Oching. She loses possession of the ball and immediately flips the switch to defense, aiming to win it back, and wins the throw-in off of Anna Marie Boisnick.
A Syracuse team that doesn't mind the other team having the ball. They love to work out in transition and on the break. But Syracuse dominating the possession battle early in this game. Fleury sends it to the middle, and the header trickles towards the near post before Alyssa Pileski gets off her line and dives on it. Or excuse me, that being Kate Costantini, the second-year goalie.
It's a great ball in. Again, Fleury immediately, as she's into space, picks her head up, looks towards the goal. She probably can't shoot from that angle, but she does put in a really good cross before it's headed towards Costantini in the Lakers' net.
Costantini, we can expect her in this first half. She started each of the first 2 games for Mercyhurst. She only played in 2 games last year, replacing one of the best goalies in program history for the Lakers, Maddie Elbro. Kara Van Horn, number 22 in green and white. Expect to hear a lot of her for Mercyhurst today, but she just lost the ball. Fleury over to her new friend Stevens, who she found for the first goal of this game just over 5 minutes in. Croyle. Fleury works it behind her fellow captain, Kylan Grant, who now owns the longest start streak on this Syracuse team with Ashley Rauch out of the lineup. Grant, 17 in orange and blue, has not missed a minute so far this season for Nikki Adams and company.
Yeah, and head coach Nikki Adams with one of her new traditions is the Game Changer Award. And in that first game against UMass, Kylan Grant was her game changer, locking down the Minute Women, holding them to a clean sheet, a 2-0 victory to start the year for Syracuse. Kylan Grant's going to be important. We talk about Alyssa Pileski organizing the Mercyhurst defense. Kylan Grant's organizing the Syracuse defense to a T. Only 1 goal conceded this entire season.
Hopefully that stays the same for Syracuse as they set up to defend their first corner of the afternoon. Deflected away by who else but Oching. Corralled by Maruna. And scooped up by the Syracuse goalie, making her 2nd consecutive start, Blythe Braun. Braun did have that clean sheet against Siena on Thursday, but where she needs to get a little smoother, Arnab, is that distributing out of her box.
Yeah, and first collegiate game for Syracuse against Siena, there were a couple of chances where Braun can push the team upfield and just misplayed a ball or two here and there. Have to assume it's a little bit of the nerves as well. Getting into your first game of the season as a goalkeeper is always a little bit nerve-wracking when you're stepping in between the sticks, but so far, so good for Blythe Braun. Hasn't seen much of the ball, hasn't seen much action in general in the back end because of this Syracuse defense pressing up and getting the ball further up the pitch.
Auden couldn't get the ball up the pitch with Ava Uribe as they misconnect on the near side. Mercyhurst trying to take advantage. Maddie Sievering deflected off a Syracuse body. Boltel hits the deck. Too much physicality from Julia Koval. It stays with the Lakers. Koval making her first start for the Orange, replacing Rauch after starting 11 games as a freshman for Gardner-Webb last fall.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Gardner-Webb, she played a lot of minutes there and a lot of really positive minutes. But Gardner-Webb didn't have the greatest season last year. Now she's with Syracuse, who started off with an undefeated record, and she's played in all the games. But Ian, the most she's played in a game is 40 minutes this season. So we'll see if the bench is pulled for her to see if she can get a couple minutes off the bench and rest up before the second half.
Braun reads that free kick perfectly off the foot of Bozjak. Now communicating with the Orange.
It's a pretty far free kick, and it's a good ball in, high and arcing away from the penalty spot, but no runners there for the Lakers to make a play on it. It's comfortable for Braun in the end.
Braun, this is her third different school in 4 years. Started at Iowa, where she did not play, then transferred to Florida Atlantic, where she saw a good amount of time, starting over double-digit games in 2 seasons for FAU, and now making her second consecutive start for Syracuse as Shea Vanderbosch remains sidelined after sustaining a minor lower body injury a week ago today in the main draw. She is day-to-day. McDermott dancing and racing past Parizio on the left flank. McDermott, her 4th consecutive start to open the year for Syracuse after not playing a single game last season due to an injury. And that was something we said a lot, unfortunately, last season. Just so many players who are new to this program, but also just a lot of new names that were on the team last year but were just sidelined with an injury.
Yeah, and 2 of them starting today up top, Maya McDermott alongside Ava Uribe. Both of them were Syracuse players last year that didn't play because of injury. It's almost like having a new recruit in because you have a player who understands the system.
Second corner for Syracuse and deflected away by Mercyhurst as they clear their lines. But Syracuse keeps it on Mercyhurst's half of the field. Auden to Fleury, who already has an assist off her right foot, and it's just high as she continues to stay aggressive in search of her second goal in as many games.
Well, you can see what the game plan is. If Fleury's anywhere near the box and has some space, she's going to take that shot. Saw it go in against Siena. Even last year, you think about the wonder goal that she scored against Florida State. She has those types of goals in her bag. To put one in is no surprise for Erin Fleury when she's right around that 18-yard box.
She has scored goals, you said the 18-yard box. She has scored some ones over the years from 30-plus yards out. She has absolutely no fear. Luckily, this year, she has a couple of teammates that she can, like we saw earlier in the goal for Delaney Stevens in the 6th minute, that she can now rely to get the ball to as well. It has stayed 1-0 since that Stevens score. Mercyhurst has not scored since their season opener, which was a 4-goal loss at Duquesne. The 3rd of 7 straight on the road to start the Lakers' first season at the Division I level. Auden in front, 1v1 with the goalie, and it deflects in off a near post, and the Orange up 2-0.
Talk about composure from Liesl Auden. One-on-one with the goalkeeper, calmly passes it in off the right post and into the back of the net. Syracuse doubles its lead.
Auden, her first goal of the season and her second goal on the career. Great poise right between two defenders and putting it where Costantini simply just cannot get to.
And think about how she got there. It's that ball from Ava Uribe. Right over the back of the defense, Auden makes a perfectly timed run in between the two center backs. Uribe finds her, and Auden does the rest.
Uribe with her 4th point of the year. Auden with her 1st and 2nd, as goals count for 2 points. In the 6th minute, it was Stevens. In the 19th minute, it's Auden, who has been one of the staples of this Syracuse team over the last couple seasons. Made 10 starts last year, scored a big goal in that tight loss against the #3 team in the country and eventual national champs Florida State right here from SU Soccer Stadium. And now she leaves her first big mark on the 2024 campaign.
Syracuse not backing down, still keeping with that high press, even with a 2-0 lead. Syracuse wants to see the ball, wants to develop these passing patterns forward, find players in space. You see how far back Erin Fleury is dropping to receive the ball as well. Just about getting players touches on the ball while moving the team forward.
Grant sends it forward. Uribe gives McDermott a chance at it, but instead it dribbles into the hands of Costantini. 2 shots for Syracuse, and they've both gone in. Mishandled on the near flank by Bozjak. And right off of her, and out of play. Back to the Orange. Dominating possession just over 20 minutes in.
And it's a little bit rushed there from Mercyhurst. You're down 2-0. You want to try and get at least a shot on goal in these next 25 minutes before halftime. But you have to take it possession by possession and pass by pass. 5 minutes at a time, just wanting to look forward and figure out what you can do good in these next 5 minutes, and then what you can do good continuing off of that.
Yeah, you sound a lot like Mercyhurst head man Rich Wall. And this is a team that dominated its conference in Division II play, was used to walking into every single game expecting to win. Now he says they just have to relearn how to go 45 minutes, you know, in every single half and deal with tight 1-1, 2-0 scores.
And really, there's no better situation than these next 23 minutes for head coach Rich Wall. Maybe you go to the bench a little bit earlier and put some fresh legs in for this Mercyhurst side. See who can be a reliable player, whether it's in the back line or in the midfield, to control this team. We talk about how deep Syracuse is. This Mercyhurst team is also pretty stacked bench-wise.
A chance that just sails high for Syracuse, just outside the 18 from McDermott.
Going back to that point about Mercyhurst, this is one of the largest rosters, just freshmen, 18 freshmen coming into this Mercyhurst program this season. So a lot of new faces for head coach Rich Wall as Mercyhurst makes that jump to Division I soccer.
I mean, this Mercyhurst team, Arnav, is so deep, they essentially have a junior varsity squad. They have what they like to call a reserve squad who actually played yesterday at Division II Edinburgh, which is in Pennsylvania, a team they were scheduled to play this season before they made the jump to Division I. A couple of substitutions for Syracuse as Anna Rupert and Mackenzie Dupre check in for the first time this afternoon. Lisa Auden, who scored the second goal for Syracuse, all smiles as she hits the bench alongside Julia Koval.
So Julia Koval only goes about 25 minutes in her first start in the Orange, and when you have players on the bench that you can put into those spots and not drop the level like a Mackenzie Dupre or Anna Rupert coming on for Lisa Auden, it's positive because you think of the weather and how hot it is here at Syracuse. It's even hotter on the pitch because of the way the heat radiates, so have to keep your players healthy first and foremost for the Syracuse side.
Yeah, it's even hotter when you're wearing a suit and tie. Over 80 degrees and sunny. When you think of Central New York, you don't think of weather like this, but they don't tell you about the falls and the springs in Syracuse. A battle in the midfield for Uribe and Bozjak. And Bozjak wins it for Hurst. Fiorillo a throw in. (2-0 Orange with early strikes from Auden and Stevens. Mia Maruna, the junior, originally from Cleveland, Ohio, sends it back towards her own goal, and Syracuse, with that press that you've talked so much about already, fighting for every single ball. And they win possession here.
It hasn't been a very physical game. We saw Liesl Auden go tumbling down on the near right side, but both these teams have played really clean soccer in these opening 25 minutes. It's been a lot of good passes, good working 1-2 from both sides in the opening 25.
Syracuse hasn't scored more than 2 goals in a single game so far this season, but is this the best passing display you've seen so far from the Orange?
I think it has to be. I mean, you look at the way the Syracuse team is connecting right now and finding open players in open space and trusting the players around them to move the ball forward. And every single time you see Anna Croyle dribbling and looking with her head up to find that open pass.
Yeah, that was a great piece of skill from Croyle to get it ahead, but the Orange fended away for now. Back towards the right foot of Grant. And Fleury frustrated as that one missed her mark. And Boltel sends it up the pitch for Mercyhurst, one of their best chances. Van Horn, one-on-one with the Orange center back, but it goes right back towards the Lakers side of things. And a great run for SU. Sprinting to the 18, a shot that's all too easy for Anna Rupert. A season high, 3 goals for the Orange, and it's not even halftime, not even close.
It's almost reminiscent of the Syracuse second goal for Auden. A great ball forward from Murphy. It takes a deflection, and then Anna Rupert is through, fends off one defender, holds off a second, and then slots it down and to the left of Kate Costantini in the Mercyhurst net.
Rupert, first goal of this season for the junior. Last year she had 7 points for the Orange, second most on the squad. And that's just good defense, Arnav, after Van Horn had a good opportunity initially for Mercyhurst, turning into, you know, exactly what Nikki Adams loves her team to do, get out on the break.
Yeah, it's a picture-perfect counter. You couldn't ask for a better clearance first, and then the deflection, and Anna Rupert having the awareness to make that run and know where the ball is going to be shows the experience of the Syracuse side, and then the calmness to finish right past Costantini, push it to 3, and now we'll see if Syracuse keeps up that pressure or maybe backs off a little bit to see how this defense will respond to some Mercyhurst movement.
Fiorillo to get things started from the near touchline. 3 shots on goal for the Orange. They've all gone in. Stevens, Auden, and Rupert.
And for Kate Costantini, she gets a hand on the first one, but these 2 most recent goals, one-on-one opportunities where it's a tough, tough ask for a goalkeeper to make those one-on-one saves. So she can't hold her head down because for her, those are just tough situations for a goalkeeper to be put in.
And even in that first game of the season, which was a 4-goal loss to Duquesne, she started the first 60 minutes of that game, made 6 saves, but allowed 6 goals. Here's another goal-scoring chance for Syracuse as Fleury spins outside the 18 and dishes off to her left. It rolls towards the hands of Costantini. We'll see Costantini for this first half, but it's pretty much an open competition right now between her and her backup, Chelsea Radicchia, the grad student transfer from Idaho State, who has been fantastic on her end. We'll see her in the second half. 13 saves against 1 goal allowed.
And both of the goalkeepers for Mercyhurst offer something a little bit different. Kate Costantini, according to head coach Rich Wall, is one of the most explosive he's ever coached, alongside the previous goalkeeper in Maddie Elbro for Mercyhurst, who gets down, makes those tough saves, while Radisha, I should say, is more of the distributor. She can control the pace of play, move the ball left to right, and get Mercyhurst on the attack, booming the ball forward.
Nobody knows goalie play better than you. Former goalie back in your day. Mercyhurst on the attack. Tripped up in the near corner. Denning tussles with Bozjak. That's going to be a throw-in.
Yeah, Julia Denning just got subbed on recently and immediately getting involved. She can play anywhere, forward, midfield, defense. She slots into the Syracuse team really well and gels with the teammates around her, no matter the position that she's put in.
Played a lot last year with Siena, where she started her collegiate career. Had her revenge game of sorts on Thursday as Syracuse took down her former squad. McDermott racing down the middle third. Passes ahead. Stevens loses control. Couple of substitutions for Mercyhurst and Syracuse. Vita Nyhan, the freshman by way of Toronto, is in for the Orange. Off the pitch for the Lakers, Caravan Horn, their senior and second leading scorer from last year. Also Mia Maruna off the pitch as well. Maya McDermott out too for Syracuse right there.
Van Horn has had one of the better attacking chances for Mercyhurst, getting the ball forward and controlling it a little bit. Vita Nyhan is someone that head coach Nikki Adams talks a lot about as a magician on the ball. When she's got the ball at her feet, she's dangerous. You'll see her take this corner as well.
Fourth corner for the Orange. Nyhan sends it into the middle. A chance in front for Stevens, and it finds the back of the net. Her second goal of the game, and it's 4-0 Cuse.
And that might be the best first touch of a game for Vita Nyhan to put the corner in. It falls right to the feet of Delaney Stevens, and as she's able to settle it, take a look at it a little bit, and just fire it on the volley into the center of the net. Nothing that Costantini can do about that one. It's from so close of a range with so much power. All Delaney Stevens had to do was hit it towards the frame, and it was fine in the back of the net.
So Nyhan with her first collegiate point as she gets the assist off the corner. Stevens came into this game with 3 career goals after 4 years at UNC Greensboro, and she's already matched that in just over half an hour here from SU Soccer Stadium.
Yeah, it's a brace for Delaney Stevens, and what an important game for her to get those 2 goals and build up that confidence heading into a very, very tough September ACC slate for Syracuse.
Yeah, still a few more non-conference matchups before SU meets Southern Methodist in Texas on September 12th. They're at home on Thursday against Northwestern. I know you're excited for that one, as you'll be back on the call here on ACC Network. And then they hit the road for the first time a week from today, but don't go too far as they travel to play Cornell in Ithaca.
And these next 2 games after this Mercyhurst one are really going to define this Syracuse season, because now you get into a Big Ten opponent in Northwestern as well as an Ivy League opponent in Cornell, 2 really well-respected college conferences and 2 well-respected programs in Cornell and Northwestern that can put together really good squads and do a good job of recruiting in locally and around the country, especially Northwestern. They're in a great spot in Evanston and a really solid program.
You're just saying that because you're from the Midwest.
What can I say? A little bit of a homer for me, as got to root for the Midwest programs a little bit.
Fleury with a ton of space in front as she shoots it towards the near side for the other of the Nyhan twins, Alita. She sends it towards the goal line, and the cross is not corralled by a Syracuse foot, and it's cleared by Mercyhurst. A dangerous chance as the Orange almost found the back of the net for the 5th time in this first half.
It's great work from the other Nyhan twin, like you said, Ian, just getting down that right flank. There's a ton of space on the wings right now for Syracuse, and they're doing a good job of exploiting it, finding a couple of passes to work past this Mercyhurst back line, but the center back's doing a good job for the Lakers to know where the ball is at all times and clear it out.
Yeah, those center backs being Sophia Paraizzo and Isabella Fiorillo. Syracuse came into this game undefeated, but hadn't scored more than 2 goals in a single match. They have doubled their season high with still plenty of soccer to play. Stevens, who just gave up the rock, has half of the Orange's strikes. Middle of the pitch, Mackenzie Dupre, the junior midfielder. Nyhan fearlessly takes it towards the 18. That shot sails well high and towards the hill behind the goal. That's the other Nyhan, Vida. These identical twins both stand 5'2" from just outside Toronto. They played a year of collegiate soccer in Canada last year, Queen's University in Ontario, but that did not count towards their collegiate eligibility here in the States.
And that's such a big plus for this Syracuse team because you can throw them in high pressure situations because they've done it at the collegiate level and they're still just freshmen. The substitute for Syracuse coming in is Sierra Collins, who had a great couple of years at Mississippi State. Didn't play for the Bulldogs, but being around an SEC program and being able to learn the style of soccer that the SEC plays has translated well for the Syracuse team. She's played a couple of games and played well.
A little bit of a behind the back flare towards the goal box, but no Syracuse player there. 9 shots for the Orange as Costantini has been under attack, and now Syracuse is getting fancy with this big cushion. Headed away by a member of the Orange, Nyhan. He's called for a foul. Lita Nyhan, that is.
And this is a moment for Mercyhurst to just settle things down a little bit. You've given up a couple of goals, and you have possession of the ball, play it around the back, and control what you can control going into these final 10 minutes of the half.
Julia Ligvoet, number 18 in green and white. First time we've mentioned her so far for Mercyhurst, who is unafraid, according to head coach Rich Wall, to throw some of their younger players into the deep end and get them experience. Ligvoet, a freshman.
And she's played in both games for Mercyhurst, so someone that they're comfortable putting out onto the pitch to give good stretches and good quality play for the Lakers.
Oching gives up the free kick for the captain, Grant, in her senior season. Sends it straight towards goal and snared by the 5'4" Costantini.
And that's big for Costantini, just to get the confidence, find the ball in your hands. You've given up 4 in the first half, but whenever you see that ball hit your palms, you can breathe a little bit and take a second to think about, what you're going to do next for this Mercyhurst side.
Well, she'll have to keep thinking as Syracuse keeps it on the attack. Racing down the far flank, and Fiona Frazier steals it away for a moment. But now a Syracuse throw-in.
Yes, more tight. No turn, no turn.
Sent towards the middle. Cleared by the Lakers for now. Sievering has it for a moment. Back to Grant. 4-0 Orange over Lakers in their first ever meeting. Syracuse trying to stay undefeated in its 4th game of the year. The Lakers still in search of their first result since making the jump from Division II to D1. Oching gets by Ligvoet as the freshmen do battle. And even under duress, she is just as calm as it gets, although it doesn't end her way there. She's a player who has played pretty much a majority of the minutes so far this season for Syracuse and has a really bright future ahead.
Yeah, talk about a day one starter as a freshman for Eva Oching. Putting in big performances and big moments. The game-tying goal against Maine to keep Syracuse undefeated in the second game of the season. No bigger moment than putting your first collegiate goal in for Oching, and she's kept up that level, hasn't dropped the level of her play since she stepped onto the field in an orange uniform.
Syracuse already with 4 goals, like we've mentioned. Their most in a single game in just under 2 years. You know, and we still got a lot of soccer to go, so that's why you got to keep tuning in to see how well this orange offense can keep it rolling on a beautiful day from Central New York. Last time they scored 4 goals in a single game, August 29th, 2022, against Lafayette in a 4-1 win against the Leopards.
I know that 1 is something that you don't want to be thinking about if you're Syracuse. You got the 4. The most important thing if you're the Orange, keeping Mercyhurst to a 0. Clean sheets are super important for building confidence, not just in goalkeepers, but in defensive units. Your whole back 4 is going to be proud of a clean sheet. The whole team will be proud of a clean sheet if you can manage to keep it there for these next 50 minutes of the game.
Blythe Braun in her first start for the Orange got the clean sheet, made 3 saves against Siena on Thursday. Has made 1 save so far today, only 1 shot on goal for Hurst. Substitutions for Mercyhurst. Chloe Kalina and Allie Cooper are in for Rich Wall and company. Camille Boltel and Anna Clark. Check that, Rosie Bandura come out for the Lakers.
And Bandura got on the ball a couple of times, and you know that she's a player, young player, that Mercyhurst is really excited about for these upcoming seasons. Just getting her that experience against a really good quality opponent in Syracuse is really important for her build up as she continues, and even just later into the season when Mercyhurst steps into conference play.
Yeah, Lakers still in search of their first goal since their season opening loss to Duquesne, in which they scored 2, and Bandura, as Oching has it inside her own defensive half. Bandura scored the first goal for this Mercyhurst team as a Division I program. And making her first start. Great pass from Oching ahead to a wide open Rupert. Already has 1 goal, dancing on the near side and deflected away as getting off her line and stuffing it is Constantini.
Yeah, Anna Rupert just thought about that one a little bit too long. First, it's the pass from Oching. Great weight on that one to find Rupert, but Anna Rupert just a little bit too slow. And as soon as she took that extra second to think about it, Costantini came out, made herself big, and got the deflection away.
Second save for the senior. So now a Syracuse corner. Nyhan to do the honors. It stays low, it's headed away, but Nyhan races from her spot and keeps it in front for Syracuse. Breakaway chance potentially for Mercyhurst, but Syracuse gets back in time. Just under 3.5 minutes to go before the break. Best half of soccer for Syracuse so far this season on both ends.
And even with the substitutes coming on, they've kept the level high for the Orange. The Nyhan twins, Julia Koval, who was a late start, I should say, stepping in for Ashley Rausch, but she played extremely well in the midfield as well.
Chance sails wide for Maddie Sievering, the sophomore, in search of her first points of the season. Chance for Syracuse just to get the little things right. And even for somebody like Braun, who has not allowed a goal so far in just under 1.5 games as a starter for Syracuse, just to learn how to deal with these situations where different defenses are going to be thrown at you and distribute the ball and get offense going. A goal kick for her.
Yeah, and she pushes her team forward. She'll go along with this one. She can get it up the field. It's all about finding an orange jersey and connecting from the back line to the midfield.
It finds Nyhan, but Stevens can't keep it in play. We have heard a lot of Delaney Stevens this afternoon after starting 19 games for UNC Greensboro last spring. She has been a staple so far for Syracuse, now making her 2nd consecutive start for the grad transfer. Way to Nyhan, towards the middle and right back to Nyhan. A nice little touch off the foot of Dupre. But Mercyhurst wins possession on the near touchline.
Yeah, it's a great 1-2 from Leda Nyhan inside to Dupre. Just misread the angle of the ball as she was receiving the back pass, and Mercyhurst able to slide down and take advantage of a miscue for Syracuse.
On the backside. Stay. Go!
Make sure to stay tuned to our halftime coverage where we'll go over what else is going on in the ACC, a conference that has had a little bit of a rebrand with teams like Cal, Stanford, SMU joining the fold. Florida State, the reigning national champs, they have gotten off to a great start to the season as the #1 team in the country. And also previewing Syracuse's ACC schedule, which will get going in not even a month.
Get in front.
And if this offense, this Syracuse offense, can carry over into the next month in the ACC schedule, I think Syracuse will turn some heads. In the preseason ACC poll, Syracuse picked 17th. And that's something that this team wants to change. And with the way this offense has been clicking, especially in this first half, it's something that will change for the Orange.
The Orange have only secured 4 results against ACC competition in the previous 3 seasons. None last year, well, just 1 tie and just 1 win against ACC competition in the last 3 years. But right now, it's the non-con and Syracuse dominating so far against Mercyhurst, a 4-0 advantage against the...
A big moment, first couple 45 minutes for her. Just got to keep that clean sheet for Syracuse. Make sure Mercyhurst ends up with 0 on the board if you're Haley and the Syracuse defense. A change for Mercyhurst as well in the net, but this one was planned with Chelsea Radisha stepping in between the sticks. She has a save percentage of 93% this season, Ian.
13 saves on 14 attempts. And like you mentioned, she has seen action in each of the Lakers' first 3 games now. This one was expected for the grad transfer by way of Idaho State. Erin Fleury is going to give her a test early on as she drifts one towards Uribe. Cannot corral it. Sends it into the middle. Headed away. A chance for Anna Croyle in Syracuse early on here in the second half. Asia Cobb got her head on it, but couldn't turn it towards the goal.
Yeah, and it's a great run forward. It starts with Fleury passing it out to Uribe, and Uribe does the smart thing to take it around and find a cross in. Asia Cobb stepping in to the Syracuse side for the first time in this game to start off the second half. It's a first early look at goal for her, and she gets her head to the ball and just pushes it wide.
Yeah, Cobb has yet to score a point in the last couple seasons. Started 16 games for Syracuse last year. More of a depth piece this season. This is her 2nd appearance and her 1st since the main draw a week ago today.
And here's a chance for Mercyhurst to move forward with one of their stars, number 10, Emily Mijares. You saw it there, a little bit of a nutmeg for her as she continues to push the ball forward. If Mercyhurst wants to produce offensively, it has to come through Mijares and Tegan Mihalko.
And Mijares, a captain, as a grad student, has been plagued by injuries over the last 2 seasons, only playing 16 games, but started 19 games as a freshman all the way back in 2021. It was arguably this team's most dominant threat on the attack. Team high 33 points, including 15 goals in 2021. Still on a minutes restriction, though, here in 2024, as she's working her way back from an injury. Syracuse, 4 goals in the first half. Not only the most in any first half under 6-year head woman Nikki Adams, but the most goals Syracuse has scored in a game, period, in just under 2 years.
And also introduced into the Syracuse side, Moo Galbis steps in for the Orange. Number 33, the transfer from UNC, gets her first action of the afternoon.
Galbis did not play in the win against Siena on Thursday. This is her 3rd game of the season. Her first season with Syracuse after transferring from a little-known program called North Carolina Chapel Hill.
You see Fleury getting involved in the offensive play for Syracuse yet again. A couple of chances to fire a shot towards goal. One gets blocked by Mercyhurst, Allie Cooper. The other one trickles right into the hands of Chelsea Radisha.
Murphy headed it back towards the Mercyhurst side of the field, and the ball stays in midair before finally Pileski brings it back down to planet Earth. For Mercyhurst, only 1 shot on goal so far for the Lakers, who are trying to avoid going scoreless for their 2nd consecutive game. Working up the near side is Dupre, who saw action in the first half off the bench for the Orange. Fleury dancing on the near flank, and she takes a tough tumble, working one-on-one against Parazio.
And Sophia Parazio gets beat first time, but she gets back up and is able to put a challenge in, catches the ball, also catches Fleury on the follow-through. Mercyhurst clears it away. It's not a foul, to be a throw-in for Syracuse.
That throw-in will come off the hands of Murphy. Fleury right back with the ball. Out of play and out of the park as the grad student captain Pileski, the anchor of his Mercyhurst team and a staple of his squad at right back.
We mentioned that if Fleury was going to be shut down, it had to be through Pileski, whether it's just her stepping up and defending Fleury or organizing her defense to defend Fleury. We saw Fleury get the assist, but since then, things have slowed down for the senior.
7th corner for Syracuse. They have scored a goal off a set piece today. Delaney Stevens, one of her 2 first-half goals came off a corner. Ava Uribe to put the ball back in play here. On a line towards the back post, the header just high. A great chance for the Orange.
And you cannot ask for a better ball if you're Anna Croyle, the freshman who stands at 5'10", 5'11", a threat on set piece as always, and she does a great job. A late run to that back corner of the goal box. Uribe puts in a perfect ball. Croyle gets enough speed on it, but just can't direct it towards the frame.
Syracuse has scored in a multitude of ways, a goal off a set piece, a couple goals on the counter. Everything working well right now for the Orange. A couple bodies flying around the pitch in the midfield. Moo Galbis hits the deck. Madeline Moo Galbis.
And if you're head coach Rich Wall, that's something that you're proud to see in the second half. Players have been flying around, even with the scoreline being 4-0. The intensity has not dropped for the Lakers.
We talked to him right before the half, and he said he's liked what he has seen in spurts from his group, especially on the defensive end of things. Great work in the midfield by Croyle to slow down the Hurst attack. Cobb gets it to Fleury, and the captain sends it way up the field. Uribe can't get there.
It's a good look for Syracuse, and the idea is there. Fleury turning into a distributor this game. She's dropped into the midfield. Against Siena, you needed her to score, so she went up and scored. This game, she's been a facilitator for the Orange.
3 assists last season for Fleury as a redshirt sophomore. She led Syracuse in points a year ago with 15, and now a point in each of her last 2 games after being held scoreless in SU's first 2 results. Trying to improve to 3-0-1, their 4th straight match from SU Soccer Stadium to start 2024. Inside their own 18-yard box. Up ahead to Cobb, who runs right into Kalina. Mahalko loses it. Another one of those captains for the Lakers working off of a minutes restriction today. Mahalko scored 17 points in the previous 2 seasons for Mercyhurst and started just under 40 games. That shot sails across the goal line. Syracuse trying to get it out of its own half.
That might be the first and the most dangerous chance for Mercyhurst this entire game. You get the ball on that goal line, dangerous things can happen because you can go straight for goal. You can try and facilitate a pass forward.
Well, there's a pass ahead to Cobb as play is stopped and she was offsides.
Just started that run a little too early there for Asia Cobb from an offside position, but once again, it's a great look for Syracuse. Cobb moving the right way, moving forward, and Syracuse is doing a good job of finding those passes up ahead.
Syracuse has been held scoreless in the first 9 minutes of the second half, but still has plenty of cushion to work with. Fleury, right on her back, Kalina. Great slide to get in front of that ball from Bozjak. The sophomore by way of Northern Croatia. A lot of international flair on this Mercyhurst team based out of Erie, Pennsylvania.
And talking with head coach Rich Wall, it's about the previously established relationships he had when he was a head coach down in the Carolinas. He had to rely on a lot of international recruits because there's so many good soccer programs in North Carolina that pulling hometown recruits is kind of hard to do because, especially as a D2 coach for him, players want to go play Division I soccer for their hometown teams. He relied a lot on those international connections, and now at Mercyhurst, he still has those international connections to go and reach for some players to fill holes in this Mercyhurst side.
Pass ahead from Galbis, and Uribe racing towards the end line. She can't get there before it trickles out of play.
It's been a couple times now where Syracuse has looked for those forward passes, whether it was intended for Uribe or Galbis or Cobb, but just hitting them a little bit too long now. And getting into the second half, fatigue is going to be a factor for the Syracuse side. Your players aren't going to be as fast moving forward, and maybe reaction time has slowed a little bit in these next 45 minutes. So it's about being smart with your forward passes if you're the Orange.
Doesn't help that it's 81 degrees and no clouds in the sky from Central New York. Won't be like that for too much longer, so Syracuse will take advantage of the warm weather, even if it will tire them out for as long as they can. A chance in front for Galbis. Deflected away by Hurst. The center back, Parazio, with a key deflection inside the 18. But Fleury gets behind the defense, goes to the far post, and misses wide.
Yeah, great move forward. Galbis first. The deflection from Parazio is incredible because she got beat and then recovered, sliding down, and then Fleury finds the ball, moves forward, and drags it. It's a pass intended for Asia Cobb right at the top of the 6-yard box, and Cobb just couldn't react to it in time. Great work there from Erin Fleury, looking for her second assist.
Wigvoet out, and in is Mia Maruna, number 30. The junior, originally out of Knoxville, Tennessee. First substitution of the half for the Lakers.
Legvold has appeared in every game for Mercyhurst, played just under an hour coming into today. Another player that you bring her on, she's not going to drop the level of this Mercyhurst side.
Rich Wall really likes the depth that this group has this season, saying if fans are surprised why one player might not be starting the match, he's happy with that. Galbis ahead to Cobb. A cross that does not connect with Aribi.
And Cobb had a little bit of time there to make that decision. Maybe could have moved a little bit closer to the goal line, taken a few more touches, and assessed the penalty area, because she put in that cross and it was a little bit too high and a little bit too fast for Uribe, who was crashing in on goal. But so far for Chelsea Radisha, it's been a lot of close calls, but she's kept it clean in the first 10 minutes of half number 2.
Yeah, saw 7 shots on goal in the second half against Niagara a week ago today. Made 6 saves. Has not seen a shot on goal from Syracuse so far in the second half. The captain, Mahalko, tussles with Cobb. Throw in for Mercyhurst. Maharez throwing Murphy off of her. And that's going to go right back in the direction of Syracuse. You can see the bulky right knee brace on Maharez. Hasn't played more than 45 minutes in a single game so far this season.
And really important for Mercyhurst to keep her healthy and keep her on track as they enter conference play and get closer to the NEC season starting.
NEC play starts for the Lakers on September 19th against Long Island University. First season for Mercyhurst at the Division I level. Similar story to a local college here in Syracuse, Lemoyne, also in the NEC. They joined the Division I ranks a year ago. Lakers projected to finish 7th in their new conference, or excuse me, 8th. A spot ahead of the Dolphins. Murphy battling with Mahalko, who tosses it ahead to Van Horn. A little 1-2 between those combo. Sent out of play by Grant.
And these are the moments that we talk about with head coach Rich Wall coming into halftime, is these spurts where Mercyhurst can get possession ahead.
Well, Mercyhurst sends it right towards Haley and net. Dupre threw her body at the ball but couldn't get to it. Chance inside the 18 for the Lakers, and it's high off the right foot of Allie Cooper.
And there it is. Sustained offensive pressure for Mercyhurst, and it leads to a goal-scoring opportunity for Allie Cooper. It starts on the near side. The ball works out to the far side, Mia Maruna, and then a deflection away from Kylan Grant. First time shot there from Allie Cooper. I think she had a little bit more time to settle it and get a better chance at goal, but Mercyhurst has looked really positive in these first 15 minutes of half number 2.
Trying to find the small victories in easily their stiffest competition of the season. And you could argue, of all time, outside of, spring games against Division I teams, first season at the D1 level for the Lakers. Played a couple of mid-majors before this one in Niagara and Duquesne. Good through ball ahead to Murphy. One-on-one with Mahalko. Sent into the middle and right back to the grad student for Syracuse. Cobb can't keep it on her right foot. Cooper, who had that chance on the other end, wins it back for the Lakers.
This game and the next one for Mercyhurst are probably the toughest non-conference games of the season for the Lakers. A Power 4 opponent in Syracuse, followed up by a team that usually ends up right towards the top of the Atlantic 10 in Dayton coming up, and also an away game for Mercyhurst in the middle of a 7-game away stretch.
Cobb had it for a moment, but is swarmed by the green and white jerseys of the Lakers. Mahalko gets it out of harm's way. Yeah, a week from today, you travel to play Northern Kentucky And if you don't know Division II soccer, that used to be a huge rivalry between Northern Kentucky and Mercyhurst, but now both teams at the Division I level. A rivalry renewed. These teams met multiple times in the 90s and 2000s at the Division II NCAA tournament level.
And that was a matchup that was always bound to happen, even through last year. The plan was for Mercyhurst to play Northern Kentucky in the preseason as a tune-up game for both teams, but as soon as Mercyhurst made that jump to Division I, head coach Rich Wall says he called Northern Kentucky and said, well, let's make it a regular season game, and Northern Kentucky agreed, so they've got that on the schedule.
Shot from outside the 18 for Cobb, and it sails wide into the left. Substitutions for both teams. Delaney Stevens, number 32 for the Orange, back in after scoring 2 first-half goals. Aaron Fleury is out for SU.
A little bit more of a defensive change for the Orange. You bring on Stevens, who runs the midfield a little bit more, and take off Fleury, who's the creative force of the Syracuse side. So now the mentality may just be to settle things down, keep the clean sheet, and develop passing patterns to move the ball forward. Not as direct for Syracuse with Stevens on for Fleury.
A dangerous play in the midfield as Cobb went over the back of Pileski. That's a yellow for Cobb. First card handed out to either team this afternoon, and now she's going to understand why she was given that card.
Yeah, and that one is just a little bit too physical. We talked about both teams getting involved and being physical, but that one, Cobb gets up, but then it's the extension of the arm into the back of the head and back area of Pileski that draws the card for Asia Cobb. And Pileski took an absolute shot there, so good to see her walk up and away from that one unharmed, because that one looked like a tough challenge.
Cobb, the most action she has seen so far for Syracuse in 2024. Coming into the game, it only played 14 minutes across 3 games, and all of that was a week ago today against Maine. Free kick for the Lakers off the foot of Fiorillo. 3 substitutions in the last minute for the Lakers. Cara Van Horn in the game, so is Tegan Mahalko, or excuse me, AJ Black, Fiona Frazier, and Maddie Sievering, all coming in off the bench for Mercyhurst. Stevens nearly intercepted by Maruna and Mercyhurst. Syracuse throw in from the far touchline. Just under 20 minutes into this second half. Not as much action as the first for the Orange. They have not put another shot on goal after they converted 4 of their 6 shots on frame for scores in the first 45.
But Mercyhurst has really stepped it up defensively, looking a lot more organized in between the back 4 and not allowing those diagonal runs to beat the 2 center backs.
Cobb gets across, deflected. Radisha, her first save. Off the rebound, it just sails high.
And that's Stevens on her hat trick with the rebound opportunity. The first look, it's a great ball in again from that right side. Cobb scuffs the opportunity between her legs. Dupre gets the first chance, misses the rebound, and then Stevens takes it first time over the bar. Once again, Stevens had a little bit more time there. Syracuse maybe moving a little bit too fast, but Stevens on her hat trick. You don't fault her for shooting that one because she's looking for her 3rd goal of the game.
Only had 3 goals in the entirety of last fall for UNC Greensboro. Trying to find her 3rd of the game. Maybe she saw that halftime highlight we played of Taylor Huff for Florida State and said, I could do that too. Throw in for Syracuse just outside its own bench as Cobb hands off to her fellow grad student Murphy. One of the most experienced players on this Syracuse team. Heading into the game, it only missed 18 minutes of action. Syracuse player down on the near side. That's Moo Galbis, but She's back up on her feet, number 33, towards the right side of your screen, although she's hobbling around.
Yeah, it took a little bit of a cleat to the ankle there as she stretched out to push the ball back to Murphy. But she's able to walk it off and looks to be back into the thick of things for Syracuse.
Galbus tumbles again there. Syracuse working without its captain and usual left back, Ashley Rauch, today. She was a late scratch. Before that, she had the longest start streak on this Syracuse team for the redshirt junior. The Orange also do not have their regular goalkeeper in cage. Shea Vanderbosch missing her second consecutive game with a minor lower body injury. In the first half, it was Blythe Braun. In the second half, it's been Sam Haley, although she is yet to see a shot on target. Dupre gives it up towards Julia Denning, the sophomore who has seen significant action in the last 2 games for Syracuse. Had an assist against Siena on Thursday. Orange ready to make a substitution. Allie Faust, the freshman by way of Detroit, jogging onto the field. And she'll replace Uribe.
Yeah, Fouts made an appearance in that 1-1 draw against Maine for Syracuse, and once again providing fresh legs in the attacking third. Uribe steps off, had a great game, including an assist on that Liesl Auden goal. A beautiful through ball that just split the center backs for Syracuse.
You asked head coach Nikki Adams at the half about using her depth, and she laughed, right? Because it was no laughing matter last season how limited this Orange roster was. Only 24 bodies on the team last year, and that doesn't even account for all the injuries that this team had. This year, 34 players on the roster, and in games like this, you can start to see what you really have with your second and third units. Corner for Syracuse. Murphy to do the honors. SU trying to find its first score past halftime. Towards the far post. A push from the Orange, and they turn it over.
Yeah, that was a great ball in from Murphy on the far side. She's the usual corner kick taker. You see Uribe take a few. Also seen Vita Nyhan take a few for the Syracuse side, but the Oranges have to stay composed on those set piece opportunities because that's how they scored their most recent goal. It was a corner from Vita Nyhan that fell for Delaney Stevens. These are opportunities that you can't give up due to those tacky fouls.
First collegiate points for Nyhan, and it was the second goal on the game for Stevens. Cleared momentarily by Mercyhurst, but it will stay with the Orange. Sierra Collins to check in for Syracuse. Only her second game with the team. The Mississippi State transfer replaces Julia Koval, making her first start for Syracuse today for the aforementioned Rauch. Substitution for Mercyhurst as well as Camille Boltel, the sophomore by way of Northern France, checks in. Chloe Kalinov, a grad student, hits the bench. Also Annabella Stower coming in for Shelby Lyon.
And what bringing Collins onto the field for Syracuse does is she'll slot into the back line. She'll be alongside Kylan Grant in the center back pairing. It allows Anna Croyle to step forward into a little bit more of a midfield role as a defensive midfielder. Anna Croyle's got a great passing range on her just as a freshman, sees the field really well, can connect those long passes, and is a set piece threat. So it allows her to get further forward up the pitch for this Syracuse side.
Fouts a little shaken up, although she's smiling. Murphy checking in on the freshman, playing in only her second collegiate game. Not a corner, but almost that for Murphy.
And this might be even more dangerous than a corner because she's got a little bit better of an angle here and is a little bit closer to the goal area. So chance to really get a dangerous ball in here for Murphy.
It flies towards the back post and headed just past the Syracuse player and into the hands of Radicia.
We talk about the set-piece threat for Syracuse. That is Anna Croyle. She had one earlier in the game. This one floats up to her. She can't get as much speed on it, but does a good job of directing it towards goal, looking for Asia Cobb to maybe get a second deflection on that one. But 2 set pieces where Anna Croyle has been involved and got a chance towards the goal.
Croyle came into the game 1 for 1. Shots on goal, that is. Now 3 for 3. The 5'10" freshman, it's only a matter of time before she slots one in the back of the cage. We're in the final 20 minutes of this one. Syracuse leading comfortably in their first ever meeting with Mercyhurst, but still has their foot on the gas. Fouts sends it into the 6-yard box, and it's cleared by Parazio.
Once again, a great run down the right side. Whether it's Uribe, whether it's Fouts, what we're seeing is Syracuse getting the ball out wide and letting those players go one-on-one with the Mercyhurst defenders. Fouts has won the last couple of battles on that side. It's a great look for her, just as a freshman, to be getting these important minutes in crunch time here in the second half.
Third time that Murphy's been called upon to get a set piece going in the last couple of minutes. And once again, it's the 5'10" Anna Croyle who puts her head on it, but cannot line it up with that crossbar that she's been aiming for.
And directionally wise, it's everything right except for the height. You want to head it back towards where it came from, and she's done that every single time to a T, just getting it a little bit higher than you'd like, making contact with the ball and pushing it too high over the crossbar. Everything else is perfect for Croyle. The runs that she's made, the passes that have came in from Murphy on the set pieces have been great as well. Just about getting the right height on it as she directs it towards the goal.
Croyle with a chance in the open field. That pass nowhere close to her fellow freshman Fouts. Mercyhurst just trying to get it out of its own end. Syracuse has dominated possession from the jump here from SU Soccer Stadium. Collins to a backpedaling Grant, who has not come out for Syracuse so far this afternoon. Collins to Cobb. Straight back to Collins. Nice sliding effort from Severing for Mercyhurst, who is dialing it up in the midfield. Frazier ahead to Boltel. And it will stay with Hurst.
And these are the moments where Mercyhurst can take a second and set up some sort of offensive structure rather than just going forward on the counter and trying to take advantage of Syracuse losing possession. It's a chance for Syracuse to push forward, excuse me, for Mercyhurst to push forward and connect some passes in and outside.
The veteran Kate Murphy is out, and in is a fellow upperclassman, Grace Franklin, the senior.
Franklin will fill that spot that Murphy leaves open on the outside. Another player who's been around the program for a while for the Orange. And with a 4-goal lead, just looking to see out this clean sheet and connect a couple passes forward.
You never know, just like last season, when your name could be called upon to play significant minutes. It's a long season. Syracuse right in the middle of non-conference play. Halfway down after this afternoon's battle with the Lakers. A couple of the key players out of the game for the Orange, including Murphy, Aaron Fleury. Lisa Auden scored one of the first goals of this game. We haven't seen her in a while. Collins takes a spill, was tripped up by A.J. Black, and it stays with the Orange.
Good work from Collins there. As a center back, you don't really see the defensive players foray forward, especially from the center back spot, but Collins and Croyle both have done a good job of seeing space and recognizing that and moving forward with it. And Grant does a good job of just distributing from her spot to secure that back line.
Although Syracuse has been held scoreless so far in the second half, Arnav, you know, when we talk to Nikki Adams, she's always looking for things to improve regardless of the effort. She mentioned she wanted to see a little more connectivity between the midfield and her front line. How do you think that's looked so far in the second half as Vida Nyhan comes into the game?
I think that has been something that has improved for Syracuse. The first half we saw a lot of direct play, a lot of counter goals, 2 counter goals, I should say, the set piece goal for the Orange. You didn't see Syracuse building from the back to the midfield to the front line. This half, we saw it early on, a couple of through balls forward that ran just a little bit too long, but now as things have calmed down, Syracuse has done a good job of holding on to possession and working through the midfield.
Nyhan right into the game to take the corner. The ball stays low and doesn't get too close to the near post as it goes out of play, and Syracuse will do it again.
It's a chance for Nyhan to put a little bit better of a ball in that one. Maybe a little bit of a miss hit as it just trailed softly towards that front of the 6-yard box.
Well, no mulligan for Nyhan, as she'll now be replaced by Moo Galbus, the first corner that she's taken this afternoon. The sophomore originally by way of Wilmington, Delaware. A great ball to the back post, but it doesn't stay in play.
Yeah, that one just looked like it was always trailing out, a little bit too much under it. Had good pace and good placement, just couldn't find it inside of the field of play.
3 substitutions for the Lakers. Emily Maharez, Tegan Mihalko, 2 captains back onto the pitch, as well as Anna Clark, number 26 in green and white.
Number 13, Tegan Mihalko for number 24.
And Mercyhurst bringing back on their 2 most potent offensive threats in Miharis and Mihalko, looking to spark this offense into just a couple more chances to end this game with somewhat of a high note.
That's what Coach Wall told us at the halftime break coming into the second half. You know, throw the score out the window. Let's try to win these next 45 minutes. As of right now, it's been scoreless against a Syracuse team that could not be stopped. 4 goals and 6 shots on frame before the halftime break. And they've only had 2 shots on goal and obviously no goals so far in the second half.
Offside there on Syracuse, and that's been a common theme in this second half. I think the second or third offside that we've seen in the second half, because Syracuse wants to get forward and the offensive players are making the runs just a second too early. And good organization from the Mercyhurst back line not to drop back and fall victim to that runner and holding that defensive line.
Allie Fouts, the Syracuse freshman, was the one who went offside. Mercyhurst with some space in front. Kara Van Horn off the far pipe. Second leading scorer for the Lakers last season, and easily one of their best chances so far this afternoon.
And it starts with Miharis finding the pass out wide, and Van Horn does a good job as it stays in play. She doesn't give up on it and just tries to squeeze it into that near post, makes contact with the woodwork and goes out of play. But a couple of really good looks in this second half for Mercyhurst as they continue to try and press on and get a couple more chances on goal for the Lakers.
Still in search. Van Horn is, of her first points of the campaign, came into the afternoon with the 4th most minutes played on this team, but without a goal or an assist. Just over 10 minutes to play from SU Soccer Stadium as the Orange trying to wrap up their 3rd win in 4 tries to start the year. Northwestern at home on Thursday and Cornell on the road a week from today on the horizon. A couple of substitutions for the Orange, getting ready from their bench. They won't check in just yet as Sam Haley ready to send it into the midfield. One of the first times we've really said her name. She has played the entirety of the second half in cage, but Mercyhurst is yet to put a shot on goal in half number 2.
And one of the subs coming in for Syracuse soon is going to be Cara Monterrey, the defender, sophomore from Miami, Florida. Her first minutes of the season. Be exciting to see what she can do in these final 10 minutes.
Knocked down by the goalie, Radicia. A spinning shot from Syracuse just outside the 18. We'll get one more look at it.
Once again, it's about contributing through the midfield. We see Delaney Stevens find Mackenzie Dupre, and on the swivel, it's a tough shot to hit. It's a tough shot to even get on target. So Mackenzie Dupre does that well and tests the hands of Radicia, but very comfortable for Radicia, who's only increased her save percentage in this game, has kept it clean in the first 35 minutes of half number 2.
3 for 3, saving shots on goal in the second half. After Kate Costatini allowed 4 goals in the first half and only made 1 save. Monterrey, like you mentioned, into the game for the first time. And so is the freshman for Syracuse, number 31, Amanda Goldstein.
And number 31, Amanda Goldstein, for number 19, Anna Coyle.
Dupre sends it ahead to Nyhan. It deflects off of her, and she gets it back. Now sends it towards the middle, and Fouts gets it to go off a deflection. First collegiate score for Ali Fouts, 5-0 Cuse.
And it's the 2 freshmen that get involved. Vida Nyhan doesn't give up on the play, continues to push forward. It takes a deflection off of her, and she doesn't give up, continues to push ahead, and then picks her head up as she gets to that goal line and finds a perfect pass into Fouts, who slots it home. It hits off the hand of Chelsea Radicia, but nothing she can do about that one. Close range, tapped home from Fouts, and it's a 5-goal lead for the Orange.
One of the best offensive displays Syracuse has had in a long time. We haven't seen a lot of this over the last couple seasons in Syracuse. Pure joy from a group that is really starting to come together on the offensive end.
How about 2 assists for the freshman Vida Nyhan? The first one off the corner, and then the most recent one. She's had an excellent game. This entire Syracuse bench has been playing at a top level against the Lakers.
First 2 collegiate points for Nyhan, both off assists, and also the first 2 points for Fouts with that goal. The last time Syracuse scored this many goals, August 21st, 2019. That was in a 6-0 win against UMass. And also the first season, if I'm not mistaken, that Nikki Adams was at the helm. Check that. That was actually 2015. So almost a decade ago, the last time Syracuse had this strong an offensive performance in terms of goals scored.
And it's come from everyone in mass substitutions here for Mercyhurst, just continuing to empty the bench out now with a 5-goal lead for Syracuse. Mercyhurst just wanting to get younger players the experience. We talk about how deep this Mercyhurst roster is. They've gone to the depths of the bench now to put on the younger players and give them opportunities against a solid D1 program and an experienced Power 5 program in Syracuse.
Yeah, it's the Power 4 now, Arnav.
Power 4, I should say, yes.
The Pac-12 gone but not forgotten, as the ACC picked up Cal, Berkeley, and Stanford in the offseason. Corner for Syracuse, and off the right foot of Monterrey, it goes out of the park. Mercyhurst takes over with 7.5 minutes to go and counting, as the Lakers will most likely drop to 0-3-0 in their inaugural season at the Division I level, and Syracuse well on its way to improving the 3-0-1. Scored in the 6th minute to take the 1-0 lead, and the Orange haven't looked back since.
It's just been consistent offensive pressure from the Orange. But for Mercyhurst, there have been spells, and we heard head coach Rich Wall talk about it. A couple of clean 15-minute segments in that first half where they didn't allow a goal, and for the majority of the second half, they didn't allow a goal. So there's a lot to build on for this Mercyhurst side. You get the experience playing in a stadium like this against a Power 4 opponent like Syracuse, how can you take this experience and build on it now, getting closer and closer to conference play for the Lakers?
Cross that McDermott gets a piece of, but quickly cleared by Mercyhurst and tossed out of play by Anna Clark. The junior making her third straight appearance to start the season for the Lakers. Racing towards the back line, Bella Flask. Can't keep it with Hurst. So another set piece for Syracuse.
We'll see who takes this one. We saw Vita Nyhan take one. Moo Galbis also took one. Looks like Sierra Collins is heading over to take this one. So the last three corners have all been taken by three different players for Syracuse. Maybe just testing it out, seeing who can get open.
Why not? It's an audition. Well, they play it safe there. Keep it on the ground. Collins to McDermott. And she's nearly swiped at the ball. Puts a shot right near that upper left corner. She is not afraid to let it fly.
It's good work from McDermott to maintain possession through pressure. Went for the pullback, got it tapped away, but has enough balance and agility to stay on her feet and win the ball back, and then looked towards goal and fired a shot from ways away that looked dangerous off her foot, but didn't test Radisha.
Radisha sends one towards the midfield and an over and back on Nyhan. So the Lakers keep it. That's the freshman, number 44, Helen Bossert, into the game for the first time at the bottom of your screen. Her second appearance in her inaugural campaign. And she'll get it right back. One-on-one with Nyhan, and she gets by the fellow first year. McDermott back with the ball. Collins over to Haley, who has done her part but is yet to see a shot on goal in her collegiate debut for the sophomore, originally from Syracuse.
How cool must that be to be playing collegiate soccer for your hometown college? For Sam Haley, 45 minutes in her sophomore year and first collegiate appearance.
Yeah, played her high school ball a couple years ago at Central Square. Was a Class A all Section 3 teamer during her senior season. That was in 2022. Her dad, or excuse me, her great-grandfather, Harry, played baseball here. Now, no offense, but so long ago, that was when Syracuse had a baseball team. They no longer have one. Good softball team, though. Good spring. Just under 3 minutes and counting as Collins can't connect up the pitch with Vita Nyhan.
But this front three has been really active, even though it's a young front three with Vita Nyhan, Leda Nyhan, and Ali Fouts up top. The running hasn't stopped. They're looking for those runs to get past the Mercyhurst defense and get into open lanes like this one.
Well, the two Nyhans leading the charge, but McDermott involved as well, dancing and putting one on frame, denied by Radisha.
A great stop down to her left for Chelsea Radisha. But once again, it's a counter. Syracuse wins the ball back. It's Fouts who finds Leda Nyhan, drops it off to Maya McDermott, a quick touch to her right, and curls it, but it's a little bit too close to Radisha. And a comfortable save for her down to her left.
That is fourth save for the grad student in this second half. And over her last 2 games, has made 10 saves and only has allowed 2 goals. If she continues to play this way, Arnav, you got to think Rich Wall will have a tough decision on his hands if she continues to outperform Kate Costantini, who has started each of the first 3 for Mercyhurst.
And it'll be interesting to see, maybe, do you switch her around? Maybe Radisha gets to start next time, Costantini comes in the second half, because I think there also is a moment of, you're playing against a very strong starting 11 for Syracuse if you're Costantini, while at Radisha in the second half, it's a strong 11 still, but it's a little bit more tired. They're fatigued, a little bit slower of shots coming her way than in the first half with Costantini.
Certainly a level of competition this Mercyhurst team has not seen in quite some time. First year at the Division I level, and there's going to be an adjustment period for Rich Wall and company. But a team that heading into this season, like we mentioned earlier in the game, had 4 consecutive 10-win years at the Division II level. Made a couple of D2 Final Fours in the late 80s and early 90s. A proud program.
Maybe 1 or 2 more final chances here for Syracuse in the closing minute to try and just get the younger players, the freshmen, the sophomores involved on the ball a little bit more as time continues to wind down in this one.
SU set to improve to 3-0-1 with Northwestern at home, their first Power 4 opponent of the season. That's Thursday night. Mercyhurst to drop to 0-3-0. They travel to Dayton on Thursday. It doesn't get much better than this result for Syracuse. 5-0 the final.